Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Brendan the Rabbit Taliski. What's doing, Brendo?
Oh, not much at all, Chapper. How you been? I saw you're on a nice little family holiday over there in Bali.
Yeah, had a ripper over there, mate. Plenty of surfing, plenty of beers, cheap meals. Yeah, come in yesterday morning via Melbourne, 4:30 in the morning. It was, mate, it was, I said it before, it was colder than a witch's tit down there, and I only had board shorts on too and a t-shirt, so then I did get the connecting flight back to Sydney, mate. It was, yeah, tough going, mate.
Yeah, I lived down in Melbourne for a period of time there. It's a cold place, mate, especially in the dead of winter like we are now.
And mate, the slowest airport ever. Like, I went to drop off me oversized luggage. I stood there for 20 minutes waiting for the bloke to take it. They won't work down there. It was terrible. Then security, another 20 minutes. Just about missed the flight. But anyway, we got home in the end, mate. Working on no sleepy, and Sydney's not much warmer. I can tell you that. Pretty cool day. Some pretty much some tough news again. I mean, it's probably not a bad thing to shut Cody Walker down for the year. And these are all just reports, nothing from South Sydney at the moment. Just reports that he may have re-injured himself on a Sunday morning training session, and he's going to possibly miss the last 7 games. I was calling for it a few weeks ago, shut him down for the year. I'm not saying we put the red pen through this season completely, but we're not winning the premiership this year, Brendan. I can tell you that right now. If you don't get inside that top four, you're not really No one's ever won it from outside the top four in the NRL era, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, definitely not, mate. The guys that are a bit knocked around, I mean, as you just alluded to, we're not going to win the comp this year, so we're best off to put these guys on ice and look forward to next year now, chaps. And obviously, we do want to finish the season on a high note and hopefully win a couple of games. But at the end of the day, guys like Cody and even Campbell Graham now, who seems to be quite busted, I think we're best off putting those guys on ice, mate.
Yeah, if they shut him down for the year, I wouldn't be surprised. Or at least give him a few weeks to rest the body. He has not been at his best. When Campbell Graham's at his best, he's in the top 2 or 3 centres in the game, and I don't think we could say that this year. He missed all of last year, a fair chunk of the year before that. So maybe this is the time to give him and Cody a good rest up. Maybe they give him Campbell Graham might get a few weeks off, or they might shut him down for the season too. But again, nothing out of the South Sydney camp at the moment. The other one's Davey Mawali. He has been ruled out for the season. He's got a broken wrist, a busted wrist. Sorry, he's been playing with it for a number of weeks now, 10 or 12 weeks, and I think the bye week was a good opportunity to get him straight under the knife. And yeah, we won't see him again this year. Look, a big loss comes off the bench. Good young forward. Hasn't really put 2 back-to-back weeks together football wise, but he's still going to be a loss in this lineup.
Definitely, mate, especially when we're short on size with the middle forward. Someone like Davey Moali comes in really handy, whether he's starting or he's off the bench, and he will be a loss.
Yeah, he will be, mate. He's just about played nearly every game. Played 16 games this year, 70 all up. Starting to get that close to 100 games there. By the end of next year, he'll be up to 100 games. Cody Walker only played the 8 games this year. Only finished 4 of them. The first 4 weeks of the year, he played um, just about the whole game, just about every game. And then from there on in, he had 4 in a row where he just couldn't complete. So I guess do you want to keep doing that every 3 or 4 weeks, bringing Cody and he doesn't last a half or finish a game? So I think they had to do something there, Brendan, and I think it's the best thing for the team.
Definitely, mate. I can remember a game a month or two ago down in Canberra where we were leading at 12-0 and Cody Walker come off the field not long after half time, and that was all she wrote, mate. We went on to get beaten 36 points to 12, chaps.
Yeah, he's very important, very integral to this team. Well, the teams are out. Wayne Bennett's named his team to play the Panthers in round 20 this week. Look, we welcome back Latrell Mitchell. He'll be given a few days off. I reckon he might only do the captain's run this week after playing Origin last week. The halves, Jamie Humphries and Jack Whiten again. I think he's under a bit of scrutiny at the moment. Jamie Humphries, they're looking to get a bit more out of him attack-wise. Hasn't been able to put anyone through a hole for quite some time. Just not taking the game by the scruff of the neck. But again, he's a young kid. he's getting all this exposure to the NRL this year for the first time, and he's only going to be better for the run in the future, mate. I like his defence too.
Yeah, defensively, mate, he's a big body and he can whack him, but obviously, as you alluded to, we'd like to see a little bit more attacking wise from him with the ball. And to be honest, I don't think many Rabbitoh supporters would have thought we would have seen a lot as much as Jamie Humphries in first grade as what we've seen. But obviously, with the indifferent form of Lewis Dodd, who hasn't really even set the New South Wales Cup on fire, I still believe at the present time, chaps, Jamie Humphries is probably our best option in the seven jumper, mate.
Oh yeah, he is. There's no doubt about that. Especially with Bud Sullivan unavailable, Cody Walker unavailable, even Jai Gray unavailable. There's your sort of depth chart in the halves at the moment. Unfortunately, even Schuster. I think Schuster's someone who has been not a bad buy, but just been hasn't been able to give us anything at all in first grade this year. Yep, and I know he's on small money, but he's not on the base minimum either. He's on more than that. My mail is on about 250. So at the moment, yeah, that's a bit of a hard one to swallow, hard pill to swallow. Look, Brandon Smith's another out this week, Brendan, in this team. Big stretchy, we've mentioned that. Brandon Smith, we know he come off with a MCL. They're not long-term injuries. Maybe he's just going to be given an extra week to prove his fitness. But what were your thoughts on Brandon? I like what I saw for him against Manly.
Yeah, mate, the Cheese, a real character, plenty of personality, and a terrific footballer. You know, I love that video that the Rabbitohs put up on their official Facebook page of how he grew up, loving the colours and loving the Rabbits because it reminded him of his home club back in New Zealand. And he got pretty emotional, a bit teary there when he was getting presented the jumper. And as I've mentioned plenty of times before on this podcast, I want guys that want to play for this chapo, for this badge on over me heart here. And I think Brandon Smith, mate, he's keen to do that. And it was unfortunate what happened to him, down at Brookvale Oval there a couple of weeks ago. But let's hope a guy that he does want to play for this and play for our jumper, let's hope we can get him back on the field as soon as possible. And to answer your question, mate, I think at Brookvale, he was probably in the 20 minutes he played up there with one of our top two or three players on the field that day.
Yep. Yeah, along with Tallis Duncan, I thought he performed really well. A lot of people worried about Tallis Duncan in the centres, but he marked up against Tommy Travojevic and more than held his own. He was probably South's best player on the day. He jumps in the centres there with Isaiah Tass, got the two speedsters out in the wings. In the forwards, a bit of a surprise to me, Jacob Host. We haven't seen a lot of him this year. Played that game that last game we played against Manly. Didn't set the world on fire. But he gets given another opportunity. He's a big body hosty. What are your thoughts on him grabbing a starting lineup jersey there?
Yeah, look, I don't mind it, Chapo, but to be honest, Jacob Host, he's a bit of a journeyman. He's been around. Look, for my opinion is a guy like a Tommy Fletcher, who his form has been a lot better in Cup. He's strung a few good games together. He's been at the club now for quite a few years. I'd like to see him rewarded with possibly a debut, but then I'm hearing on the grapevine that, possibly Wayne isn't keen on debuting the young guys. So I'm not too sure, mate. Obviously, I hope Jacob Host does a job in the red and green, as I do any man that takes the field. But yeah, I'd like to see Tommy Fletcher get a run, Chapo.
Yeah, so look, I mean, I think this week would be a perfect week for it. I'd start him straight up in the back row there, give him a run. Why not? You got the experienced Ewan Aitken there. Put him on the right edge, Ewan Aitken. He can jump on the right. You could put Hosty on the bench. I'm not sure the Lewis Dodd on the bench. They've named him on the bench half a dozen times in the last 6 weeks. Hasn't played. I don't know if that's another smoky there. He only covers one or two positions, half of 5'8", and like you said, his form in New South Wales Cup, it's just not up to first grade standard. He doesn't bend the line, doesn't break the line, doesn't have any line break assists, no try assists. His kicking game's really good. I like his kicking game, but you can't just have someone in there in the NRL, let him kick on the last and then hide him. You cannot hide in the NRL. So I know they just brought Jamie Soward in to try and help out with Jamie Humphries, and I'm sure he's helping Lewis Dodd and Matty Humphries and all the halves we've got coming through. So Dodd, what are your thoughts on Dodd being named in this side at all?
Yeah, well, mate, as you just alluded to, he's been named in the team, I'd say maybe 7 or 8 times this year, and he hasn't taken the field. And the times we have seen him in first grade, I think he started as the halfback against Newcastle. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he
Many,
did.
many weeks ago
Magic round,
now.
yeah.
And to be honest with you, I've got to call a spade a spade. He was pretty ordinary at NRL level in that game. I know we were down a few troops, but he didn't set the world on fire. And the other 2 games in the NRL he played were only sort of 12, 15-minute cameos off the bench when the club was already behind by a big margin. So, to be honest, it's hard to judge, but I've watched a little bit of Cup this year. You've probably watched a fair bit more than me. And if he's not up to standard at this level, how's he going to be up to standard at NRL level? I've seen a few fans online bickering, possibly, calling out Wayne and people like that for not giving him a fair go. But that's not the case. I mean, the NRL's not for everyone. You're either able to play at that level or you can't play at that level. And with the position the club's in at the moment, we can't afford to throw a guy in that's not up to that level, chaps. Like, I'm hoping, as a passionate fan like yourself, we can finish the season with, another couple of wins. And we need guys that are competent at NRL level.
Yeah, well, Peter Mazzola, it's good to see him back. I thought he's been strong in Carp, real crafty. He got his running game on last week against Newcastle, and the week before against Penrith, where he sort of played some good foot. He didn't play the full games, but he's playing 60 odd minutes there and 50 odd minutes just to get some kilometres in the legs. I like that. Liam LeBlanc, he was unlucky last week. He was going to play long minutes against Manly, got some back spasms. He looks like he's back to full health. I'm just surprised he's not in the 17. I'll be surprised if he doesn't come into it at all. Shaq Mitchell's been outstanding in the lower grades the last few weeks. He's just a handful. The big man looks a little bit unfit, and that's just his physique. He's a big unit. His offload, his soft hands, the way he jumps into first receiver and tips on, he plays out the black, he plays flat, or he dummies and runs. I like that option there, especially with the halves that aren't the most creative halves, like your Jack Whitens and your Jamie Humphries. I'd like to see Shaq Mitchell get some time, bring him on at lock, and get him to play that first receiver and ball play, tip on out the back to your Latrell Mitchells and his brother. And when he carries the ball, have Latrell sniffing around for a late offload or whatever. I mean, I'd be giving him a crack before I'd be giving Lewis Dodd a crack on the bench. Look, Armoron Gudgeon's another one there, a name probably people aren't familiar with. Got him from the Melbourne Storm full-time system. He goes good. He's more of a fullback. He's played a bit of wing too in New South Wales Cup, but he hasn't let anyone down, that's for sure. So he gets a bit of reward there. How do you see this one playing out, mate? There's no easy beat in the NRL, mate.
Look, it's really going to be really tough, Chapo. I mean, we're playing Penrith. The last time we played Penrith, when we were 28-0 up at half time, and Penrith, the 4-time reigning premiers, were on the bottom of the ladder, and we were leading 28-0 at half time. That sort of feels like a lifetime ago with some of the results we've had since. But look, I'm hopeful, as I am every week, that we're able to show something and possibly come up with the 2 points, Chapo. But as you know, it's not going to be easy.
Well, there's a few big outs. You got Isaiah Yo's not going to play. Isaac Tungo was suspended, and Nathan Cleary's not going to play this week either. They're going to give him a rest after backing up, and he was able to get his side over the line. But they do bring in some experience, mate. Brian Toto jumps back on the wing. Now we have trouble with him every time we play him. We can't put him on the deck. Dylan Edwards, the State of Origin fullback. So they got a fair roster here to contend with. But again, if we play to our potential, we play to our best. Latrell Mitchell gets his hands on the ball in good ball situations and has a bit of space created by these forwards that have been named here. Who knows? Maybe we might surprise them again. And Penrith haven't been able to play one home game this year, so they're always on the road. They're always vulnerable. They have played a lot of games out there at Parramatta Stadium recently. So anyway, we'll see what happens, mate. I'll give us a chance, mate. I'll give us a sniff. Put it that way.
Yeah, mate, if you go back to our last game at Brookvale there, look, we were pretty good in the first 10 or 15 minutes. We forced Manly into a few errors and we hit pretty hard in defence. And we were up for that battle. But the issue was, chaps, after 10 or 15 minutes, we didn't have anything to show for that on the scoreboard. And
No.
I honestly believe if we had a guy like Latrell Mitchell in the team with what he can create, mate, possibly we were up 6-0, 8-0, 10-0 after 15 minutes, and we could have went on to graft out a win, but that wasn't the case. But Latrell Mitchell and his creativity and what he can do with the football will be absolutely key to us troubling Penrith.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Look, on paper, you probably think Penrith win by 2 or 3 tries when you look at it on paper, but just with not Nathan Cleary not there, some inexperienced halves there, they're gonna name a couple of blokes. Who Blaze Talangi, who's come on slowly, but he's starting to put his imprint on the Penrith team, and Brad Schneider, who's had his few opportunities. There's some opportunities there for South if they can. Again, a bit like that review I did last week on the Manly game. If we scored in that first 10 or 15 minutes when we're on top, it's a different ball game. But for Manly to look up and see 0-0 on the scoreboard after 12 or 13 minutes, and they've hardly had any pill, it just give them a boost. So we've got to Latrell Mitchell get his hands on the ball and ice a few tries, and then we're a bit of a chance, mate. I just want to have a chat, mate. We'll move on from this game, but just want to go over the top 30 and get your thoughts on this. Now I'm going to give you a couple of players that just not that haven't contributed. They haven't played a lot of football. Lewis Dodd, he's played the 3 games. We mentioned him. Tom Fletcher, top 30, hasn't been given an opportunity. Jacob Host has played the 1 game. Ben Lovett, no games at all. Hazen Mellors, no games at all. Chuck Mitchell, no games at all. Cam Murray, no games. Schuster, no games. Ravalawa, 3. Now and then your Suppo players. Jerome Burns, he's out for the season. He didn't play 1 trial. I don't think he even had 1 full training session. So he wasn't a buy you'd be cheering about. Liam LeBlanc, he's played 10 games as a Suppo, so he's got his value. Max McCarthy didn't play 1 game, got injured in the trials. Myers has played 3, and Nazareth Ta'ua, no games at all. So we've got to get better in that area, that second tier depth, and have guys that we can reach back on at any stage.
Yeah, mate, with an injury toll like we've got, and obviously a lot of those guys you just mentioned are injured too, but there's quite a number that aren't. And whether the club or the powers to be don't think these guys are up to it to step up to the NRL level, probably the term I'm looking for is we need a more well-rounded roster. We need a roster where the coaching staff, whoever that may be, even after Bennett's tenure, are confident to be able to grab these guys out of cup, all these
Yep.
development players, and they know, once again, they're able to do a job for this club and this logo on my chest, because me as a fan, I'm not really fussed who plays in the NRL team, but I want to see them compete and ultimately win.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And some of the top tier guys that we've been using, they're just unavailable at the moment. I'll just go through just our top 30 only. You know, Cody Walker, Campbell Graham, Jai Gray, Bailey Bentley Harpe, Hazen Mellors, you got Jerome Burns, Bud Sullivan, Talanoa Penatani, Michaela Ravalawa. That's just in the backs. They're unavailable through injury at the moment. In the forwards, you got Cameron Murray. We've spoken about him at nauseum. Your Ben Lovetts, your Schusters. I mean, you call him a forward, I guess. And the other one's Brandon Smith. They're all unavailable. So it's just when you get that second and third tier depth, you need them to be experienced guys, not just complete rookies. Or if they are complete rookies and you're going to bring them in, you want them ready to go. Like they've got to be fit, hard, strong, and powerful, and be able to. The main thing about NRL is collisions. If you love collisions, if you thrive in collisions, whether you got the ball or you don't, that's half the game. You know what I mean? Like we got to get these second and third tier depth up to a little bit more scratch, because if you have another year like you have this year with your key players, if Cam Murray goes down again in preseason or Latrell goes down, you want to be able to bring in that next crop of players, and they don't miss a beat.
Yeah, mate, there was a young guy for the Warriors on the weekend. A bit off topic, but it's related to what we're talking about. He blazed the ball back off a kickoff and he ran over the top of a Tigers bloke. You know, he was that confident in his own ability. He got up and he started throwing a bit of lip around and he started getting into the opposition. Now, these are the sort of confident young guys that I'd like in our system, part of our depth, that come in, and not only are the coaching staff confident, the player themselves is confident, and they're ready to go out there and run over the top of the opposition. And I believe going forward, these are the sort of players we need to sign, Chapo.
Well, the Warriors have been outstanding in first grade. They lead. There's no secrets about their reserve grade. They lead their reserve grade by a country mile. Their third grade was down. I can't remember what score, but they needed to score 4 converted tries to win in the final 10 minutes. Brennan, guess what they did?
They did, yep.
They were down by 20-something points and scored 4 converted tries to win the match on the belt. They just got so much football in them. We know their under-17s won it. Their SG ball was mid-table. They did really well. They're just a team that's busting, jumping at the bit. I'd say we're probably under-17s, under-19s, like from that 19 age group under. I'd say we're the number one team in the NRL at the moment. We've got that much talent coming through. It's not funny, but there is a gap. You know, there's only a sprinkling of really good talent in our flag, a sprinkling of good talent in the New South Wales Cup, and it gets affected by your first grade. All these injuries filter down to those grades. They don't filter down to Harold Matthews and SG Ball. You know what I mean? They don't really filter down. Now, these SG Ball guys have come up and made a difference. They had a great win, 18-10 over the Knights. With only 2 minutes to go, I think they allowed a kick try in the corner. But their defence was just outstanding. The yardage carries down. They've got so many good middles coming through, Brendan. People are complaining we haven't got any front rows. We've got that many coming through. That Gallo, he goes good. Nathaniel Gallo. Devontae Metinui, he scored a great try. Just a big, hard running forward. Our reserve grade, Shaq Mitchell, has been good. I'll just go through I've got written a few things down. I'm in the dark here. Brendan, I can't really see it, but yeah, they were beaten 36 points to 24, but they're down 30-0 at half time. You're not going to win many games down 30-0. But yet they were able to fight back there. Tim Johansson, he got put in the New South Wales Cup Team of the Week. He had a great 121 yards, 33 tackles, 57 post-contact, 4 tackle breaks. Shaq Mitchell, 56 post-contact metres, a couple of offloads. He was huge in that game. Tommy Fletcher, 27 tackles, no misses on the edge, scored a try, had a line break. He beat 4 blokes to score basically a barge over try from 5 out. These blokes are knocking on the door. I think that Celestia Tata, 134 metres. He runs with aggression. He had 5 offloads in the game, Brendan. He was good. Peter Mamo deserves a special mention. We've got some young forwards. Kayla Samuel. Do you know much about him, Brendan?
No, I don't know.
Great young Kiwi forward we brought out there this year. He's gone from under 19s to playing really well to kind of dominating at the under 21 level. They're coming. It's just we've probably got a little gap at the moment. We haven't got any really, we haven't got 10 or 12 shit-hot 21-year-olds. We've got a lot of 19-year-olds and younger that are really, we've got to make sure we keep them too. Yeah, look, anyway, that's the way it goes, Brendan. They is certainly having a swing. Now, this week, we got the Dragons, who are number 2 in the New South Wales Cup. Again, we haven't been far away, but we've got to start better. Matthew Humphries looks like he's been promoted into the New South Wales Cup team. If Dodd takes the 17, he'll make a big difference. There's not too much pressure on Ashton Ward. Look, they've been playing some pretty good footy down. Lenny Skelton, 182 metres in the centres. Not a household name, but doing his job. Looks like I'll probably be calling those 2 games, I think. Just got to check my work schedule and family schedule, but I'll have a chance of calling those 2 games at Redfern. One's at 2 p.m, the Cup, and then Jersey Flegg. That one's at midday there. So that big Bailey True, the winger, he's been getting through some work. Big yardage carries, a big target. Lancelot Tovio scored a double last week. They had this identical set play that worked to perfection. Charlie Poynton sitting out the back of shape, the fullback. He ices a 2-on-1 really well, Charlie Poynton. He's another outside back to really look forward to. I thought Yaya Yache, the big lock forward who's been playing a lot of hooker at the moment, he's someone we can be excited about. So it's not all doom and gloom there, Brendan, in these lower grades. I know there's a lot of articles out there at the moment, shit potting people left, right and centre. I just think Wayne's got a bigger job than what he thought. I think the club has made a few recruitment boo boos over a couple of years. I'm sure at the time they look like, in hindsight, that it hasn't worked. It's easy for me to say or you to say, but you can't tell me they're not trying to do their absolute best in there and they're trying to correct their mistakes. And I think starting with a really good, strong pathways, even the 15s, we've got a really good 15s team, 14s coming through. It's all, they're coming, but I think we're just going to have to try and fill that depth. We need a couple of blokes who played 20 or 30 games in our reserve grade in just about every position. Just blokes who are jumping out of their skin. That Warriors team, we're going to get that centre from over there. He'll be good for
Yeah,
our
Moala,
depth.
Graham Taufa. Yep.
You got that Latrell Seawald. Like he's a really classy outside back. He plays 5'8". He plays full back. We've got some guys coming. I believe we've signed a absolute monster. Just a bloke who just turned 18 from the Roosters. I won't reveal his name, but he's in 120 kilo class, this bloke. He played as a 17-year-old in New South Wales Cup this year. So he's someone I really look forward to. You got you Bronson Garlics. He's a seasoned pro, a veteran now, a bloke who's going to be coming back to a club where his father made a name for himself in the
And he's come
90s.
through the Melbourne system, Chapo. Like, you got to look at it. When he comes to us, he's going to have played 40 NRL games for Melbourne. Like, if you've come through the system down there, I'm excited to pick him up, mate.
And he can play he can play middle forward and a bit of edge at a pinch. So you're going to have him competing with all your hookers you're going to have here next year. So look, I reckon if South could just about pull the pin on this year, they would. It's just been one of those years. We're just going to have to try and get behind them. Stop laying the bird into them online. You get your keyboard warriors that just don't stop. All they want to do is bag. They don't have a solution. They got no experience in key positions like football recruitment managers, or they're not coaches. They're not CEOs. Look, I think positive feedback at the moment is going to be more constructive than shit potting the obvious what we've done wrong. We've got to learn from our mistakes and move forward. And I believe a full strength Rabbitohs lineup next year is going to be more than competitive. Put it that way.
Definitely, mate. And you mentioned a couple of young guys there, and even someone like a Celestia Tata. I hope another guy, like I said with Tom Fletcher, he does make his debut before the end of the year.
He's good.
I think Tata's got something to offer. He doesn't mind promoting the ball. He'll get the ball out the back, and even a trial game early in the year, he scored a couple of tries, just one off the ruck, chaps, with power running. And we don't really have that happening in the NRL at the moment. And I know you can't compare Cup to NRL, but if you're looking at his form consistently over the course of a good 3/4 of a season now, I think he's nearly earned his opportunity, mate, to chuck that young guy in, bigger Tata.
Yeah, and also we'll talk at the schoolboy level. We've got the national schoolboy titles at the moment. If you don't know, it's phenom and schoolgirls as well. Um, I'll I'll go through that really quick. Yeah, so we've got six represented. There's 60 players up there at the national titles. We've got six of them. That's 10% coverage. That's more than any other team in the NRL. So we've
Yeah,
got that
good.
good. As I said, we've got the best talent under 19 in the country. Cody Hill, he had a good game by all reports today. Not getting huge minutes, but he played really well. Cabry, who had one of the try savers of the year, Anthony Cabry, he's a good middle forward. Taj Alvarez, all these guys have only played rep football with South. Nobody else. They're homegrown. 4 out of the 6 are actual local guys too, Brendan. Which everyone's saying we've got no juniors. Well, we got Keon Antonalia Chusis. He also represent New South Wales in rugby union as well. You got Dane Jennings, a Central Coast boy up near you, Terrigal Sharks. He looks like a big, strapping, strong centre with power and a good fend on him. Josh Ballard scored 4 tries yesterday, Brendan, in one of the games up there. So outstanding, explosive winger. He's in one of those teams that are going to be hard to beat. So there's 6 young blokes knocking the door down. We also had a couple of players named in the New South Wales Rugby Championships as well to represent New South Wales number 2s, I think. Anthony Chusis was one of them again. Oh, sorry, Keone Chusis. You had Peyton Taro was one of them. and Darcy Feltham, who I've got a big rap on, another outstanding fullback coming through the ranks. All them players were outstanding in our Harold Matthews this year. So there's a lot to like about what's coming through. South are quietly confident. They're not going to go out in the media and sack people left, right, and centre, which I think some of the general public would like. Yeah, so it's not all doom and gloom. And the other one is the Harvey Norman women's, Brendan. Geez, that was a good comeback last week against Penrith. They should have won it. An unbelievable try there from Karina Ray. I don't know if you've seen that. She is so fast and so explosive. I was talking to Coach Chris O'Connell the other day when I was in Bali. He said he's pretty happy with his team. They just got to get their starts a little bit better. They've got some really tough young girls playing some good football. Obviously, Kiara McGregor, outstanding halfback. Kiana Ray, sorry, her name was, very fast, strong fullback. And one of the most impressive players for mine was Hannah Calland, another local junior. She is tough as nails, just bashes people all day, does 2 or 3 carries in sets of 6 when the game was on the line at the back end. So well done to the girls too.
Mate, she might get a call up against Penrith this Friday.
Yeah, we're looking for some more forwards at the moment. Hannah, don't turn your phone off. But yeah, no, she's certainly one to look out for. And look, they've got a bit going on. If you go up and beat Penrith in Penrith, or have a draw with them, sorry, you've obviously had a day out.
Mate, especially with their system there, they're strong all through the women's and through every grade. So to get that draw, was it 22 all from memory?
22 all,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was 22 all. I saw the highlights. To get that draw, that's really good, mate. And big shout out to the women's team. And it's good to have the women in the Cardinal and Myrtle chaps in the colours, mate.
Oh, for sure, mate. No doubt about it, mate. Yeah, that might be about it, mate. We might leave it there. You got anything else for us, mate?
No, not at all. Just like you said, just a big shout out to all the loyal supporters out there. Not to get too disheartened, and mate, I just love to chat to you. Obviously, you've got a lot to do with the pathways. You're calling games now. You know a lot of people that are connected with the pathways. So for you today to be able to fill everyone in about what is really going on, mate, I think was excellent, and that was one of the reasons I was really excited to get on here today because we'd already had a chat on the phone and I felt pretty good about what you told me today with a lot of these good young guys coming through. And as you mentioned, we've probably just got that 1.5 to 2 year gap before they can come into the NRL squad. So we're probably looking to fill that little gap there for only 18 months or 2 years. But after that, mate, the future's looking pretty bright. And
Yeah, I think a bit of salary cap money becomes available. You obviously know we're tight as anything at the moment, but look, I think one thing there's been a frustration. I get a lot of messages, private messages from different members and whatnot, but I think the communication's been a little bit not up to standard this year. I think they got to probably get a bit more communication. We seem to find out second or third hand if people are injured, whether it's the Katie Walker news. Now, I'm not going to confirm anything until I hear it from South. Even Campbell Graham, he's not named this week. Maybe on a Tuesday they might need to do a quick rehab report straight after they put the teams out. You know what I mean? And just filter it down the information to the members. Oh look, Campbell Graham, he's got the back spasms again. He's out this week or whatever. You know, you couldn't. Just something pretty. They could send it to me. I'll put it out there if they want to. I'm quite happy to do the communication. Just email it to me, and I'll put it up on our platform if that's how they want to do it. But yeah, I think a couple of members there's a bit of frustration there, and I can understand that. But I guess South's probably got a different way to look at it. Wayne's not a big communicator with the fans and members. That's not his style, is it, Brendan? He likes to just go low key and keep it all in house and try and keep everything as positive as they can.
yeah, definitely, mate. That's not his style, as you said, but yeah, it would be good to get a bit better communication because when you're looking at these supporters online and they're calling out other fan pages and other things that aren't connected with South and they're getting the Rabbitohs news through that, it's just not the greatest look, to be honest with you, chaps.
Nah, like I'm sure that it'll improve as the year goes on. Look, I'm sure there's some announcement they want to win a few games so they can announce a few signings. You know what I mean? They put a bit of footage out today of Cameron Murray having a run up, trotting up and down the sideline. Look, he'd be a massive boost to get him back, but at the same time, I'm almost at the stage where I'm thinking, geez, I don't want Cam to come back and do another significant injury and loses another preseason or something. But at the same time, geez, it'd be a big boost to get the captain back.
I'd be a massive boost, but you had to look what happened with the Cheese, who's another terrific footballer, and by all reports, it's only short term now. But in his very first game back, he come off the field busted. Now we don't want that happening to Cameron Murray, chaps.
No, we don't. Look, I think August was a date he set to come back. Maybe he comes back and finishes the year off with a few games. I think Michaela Ravelar was someone that's got to come back from injury. You got your Jai Greys to come back into the mix too. Talanal Penatani still injured in that lower grade system. Explosive back who seemed to. I really believe he has got better as the year gone on. But Jerome Burns would have been handy at the moment this time of year. But again, Jerome Burns hasn't struck a blow unfortunately, and as I said, my understanding he won't play a game this year.
And just quickly before we go, chaps, touching on all those young guys, another guy I want to give a shout out to. I know his old man Greg, just a terrific, humble bloke like his young fella, and that's Matt Humphreys, mate. I want to give a shout out to him, just working his ass off down there in the system. By all reports, he loves the bunnies. He loves the guys. Jack Whiten's name's been mentioned a couple of times as a guy that really looks after him down there. And when I'm sort of out and about on me postie run and I hear these things, it's really positive about the club. And a big shout out to Matt Humphreys and keep the head down, mate, and keep pushing. And it's great to see him playing up in Cup too, chaps.
Yeah, it'd be big for him to get Jamie Soward in the building too. I know Johnny Sutton is taking him under his wing as well. Him and John Sutton struck up a good relationship now. They do a bit of surfing together and stuff like that. But yeah, he'd be huge for his development, Jamie Soward. Definitely, mate. But mate, we might leave you there, mate. We knocked out about 30 odd minutes here. It's good to be back. It's bloody cold here in Australia compared to Bali. I'm missing those afternoon sunsets and beers on the beach and surfing out there with all the local barlows and that. Yeah, beautiful people, the Balinese. I think that's probably the best thing about it. They just have a real good. They do. Their beliefs are, you do something good and it comes back at you in spades. So they certainly did that to me, mate. We might leave you there, Brendan. That might be about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbits.